Someone put out on the internet this little image here, you'll see in a moment. It's a picture of a shirt, and it says on it, 2020. And it has like 5 stars, but it only has 1 star colored in. So 2020 gets a 1-star rating with the comment, horrible. I would not recommend it. Perhaps some of you would feel the same. How are you coping with all the unprecedented changes that we've all been through this year? You know, as I've talked to people, even just recently, I'm hearing a lot of people talk to me about Zoom exhaustion or just plain exhaustion. I mean, think of families having to, work and do school for their children and just try to live life. And, some have said, there are things they have to cut out, things that would bring quality to their life. Just because it's too much. There's too much to do right now. And with all that, I've seen so many people having difficulties managing their emotions, keeping a lid on negative or uncomfortable emotions, and seeing them come out sideways, when we're at the grocery store or at the most of the grocery stores where we go, so it's at the grocery store. And I can tell you when I go out into the world, or even when I'm staying at home, I'm still feeling uneasy. Some anxiety, some fear, some sadness, as this coronavirus just seems to continue and continue and continue. I feel fortunate that none of my immediate family, have caught in this virus, but that's not to say they haven't been impacted. They're all being impacted on an emotional level. And some members of our congregation, friends of our congregation, have caught the virus, and they're in recovery now. And I want to thank some of you who reached out to them and helped them during this time. I think that's what we should do as a faith community, to reach out, to help each other in need, whether we have the virus or whether we don't. We're all impacted by it. And as faith communities, we really need to reach out and help one another, check in with one another, call one another. It's especially important. This coronavirus is going to continue to affect our lives at least through the spring of 2021 and probably will impact us in many ways for perhaps even years to come. And while I hope that we can be back together in this space again next year, we just can't right now. It's just not safe. We're working on plans to maybe do some things outside where we can be around each other, but there's not going to be any hugging or shaking hands. We'll be 6 feet apart, but at least we'll be able to have our images on our eyes, and we can see each other across a space, which I think will be very meaningful. But given all that we're facing now, all this instability, this lack of connection and community, this stress and anxiety, I know many of us feel less than secure about our lives, our livelihood, our community. Kristen Robinson and Alicia Hawkins wrote in their book, Listening Hearts, the following: security is the feeling of being safe and in control. It's a nice feeling. It exists on a continuum. You can feel a little bit safe and in control, or totally safe and in control. Everybody needs a little bit of security. And our search for security and control begins at birth, when we discover that our cry will bring us someone to attend to our needs. We all need a sense of security to be happy, productive, creative. But the thing is, the world is not always a safe place, nor can we control all that happens around us. You know, I've been thinking a lot about this, security, and, you know, with all of us, maybe at least to some extent, all questioning the sense of security and being out of control, you know, this is a lot to go through. And so I just felt that it was necessary to spend a little time this week and next to talk about resilience. And I know I've preached on resilience before, but what we're going through right now is just unprecedented. None of us have been through something like this. And we don't know when it will end exactly. And so we go from day to day, coping as best we can. But I know that for me, I need to be reminded from time to time that I will get through this. That I do have the skills within me to manage this stress that I'm under. And I believe that's true for you too, that you all know that you will get through this, and that you already have some of the skills that you need to help you get through this time. I just felt it was important for us to look back on this again and remind ourselves as we go through this that we can, we will, and we have what we need. So today, I'm going to talk about peace of mind. Next week, I'm going to talk about peace in my heart, or peace in your heart. Those may seem very similar things, but to me anyway, there are some very different aspects to them. There's some distinctions I want to kind of pull out. So today I'll talk about peace of mind, and then next week I'll pull out the difference of peace in heart. So let's start with the story that we just heard from Sam. The story of the Queen and the paintings. You know, the Queen announced she would give a prize to the artist who painted the best scene depicting peace. And she got pictures like a calm lake perfectly mirroring peaceful, towering, snow-capped mountains, the blue, clear sky, and white, puffy clouds. These might be pictures that we might look at and think, boy, that's serene. You know, if we go to a museum or maybe we have a painting like that in our house. They might elicit some feeling in us of being calm or unruffled or unconflicted. Serene pictures. But if we look at that picture of some serene scene long enough, we begin to realize how still it is, how static. It may be serene, but it's remote, so far removed from what our lives are really like. Peaceful, yes, but it's static. It's not who we are, what we're going through. It's unconflicted because It's untouched, separate from our existence. I tend to think of things as more active, something peaceful in the midst of a real life. When I think of that image in my mind of how that might look, the first thing that comes to me is this image of monks sitting on Tibetan mountains in the lotus position, maintaining this dynamic peace while there's conflict going on around them. Sort of like the picture that the Queen chose as the prize-winning picture of the mother bird on the stark mountainside with a storm brewing around her. That seems more like real life. It's far from being removed from the turmoil of the world by turning within and looking at the resources we have, that we can ground ourselves even in the thick and the middle of a storm. And it's like that for us, even now. You and me. The winds of change are swirling around us. COVID, divisiveness in our culture and the election, calling out institutional racism and police violence all over the world. These winds of change swirling, and we are called upon to somehow find a center, peace of mind. So let's consider another story. The story of the chimpanzees and the coconuts. Someone cuts a little opening in a coconut just big enough for a monkey's hand to go in. And the monkeys slip their hand in there, and there's rice because they can smell the rice, and they grip the rice in their fist, and they can't get their hand out. They're trapped. In our meditation today, we ask, what's the rice in your fist that keeps your hand trapped in something in your life? And we ask the question, Sam asked this question, could it be that peace is no more than walking with your hands open? You know, I tell you, while that image and that story is so appealing, and the idea of letting go of some issues that we hold tight to in our fists is useful. I think there are things that we need to let go of that don't do us any good. Resentment doesn't do us any good to hold on to. Fear doesn't do us any good to hold on to. Be trapped by. Is letting go and walking with open hands really a way of achieving peace of mind? Something that might help us build our resilience? I think in part it is, because we're letting go of some of the pain within us. But I'm not sure it's the whole answer. You see, there are things that I still want to hold on to, that I don't ever think I'm going to let go of. Injustice, inequity, racism. I don't want to let go of that. It's going to stay in my fist. So how do we reconcile the parable of the fist and rice with our Unitarian Universalists' call to work for justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, to work toward the goal of a world of peace and liberty and justice for all? How do we balance those? Inner peace, activism in the world, making a difference. How do we do that? Well, as I've been thinking about it, I guess particularly in the past week or so, but more so than that, because it's something that's on my heart. I've come to believe that peace of mind is about a state of mind, about how we balance internal and external, what attitudes we hold that help us to achieve that balance. It's not about safety or serenity or letting go of attachments. It's about balance, at least to me. And maybe a few other things as well. I want to go back to that book I talked about before by Robinson and Hawkins, Listening Hearts. They talk about peace of mind, and I'd like you to hear this. The phrase peace of mind describes another goal, perhaps more worthy, as it allows for contentment and activism. Peace of mind comes from living a real life and making peace with its conflicts, both internal and external. Peace of mind, unlike security, which is fragile, if it not at times impossible, and serenity, which could lead us astray should it be our only focus. If we have peace of mind, we might find ourselves generally trusting, not looking for trouble, assuming people are well-intentioned, competent, and good, unless faced with contrary evidence. We would live in the present and find happiness and satisfaction in the moment. We would not be in denial about life's and the world's problems. I mean, we'd have to face them, deal with them. We would know how to reach out to others, especially in times of stress, conflict, anger, fear. And we would cultivate basic values, speaking truth in love, thoughtfully considering how our lives impact others. Let me hone that down just a little bit. So this is what Robinson and Hawkins are positing if we want to work toward peace of mind. Trust people, stay in the present, and find satisfaction and happiness there. Reach out to others when we need to, and cultivate basic values. Suggesting that we develop these attitudes that I'm talking about. Takes time, takes intention, takes focus. You might say, it's like deciding to go on a quest for a lifetime. Always keeping that focus in the forefront of our minds. So I like this idea of a quest. And so I was looking for something that spoke to me about this kind of quest, because there are so many different kinds of quests one could go on. And I was reading in Mark Nepo's The Book of Awakening, and I found some of his thoughts about quests. And what he did is he compared some explorers, different explorers, and their quests, and what they meant to him, what he saw in them that was meaningful to him. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that one of the explorers he talked about was Christopher Columbus, a person we know today was a colonizer and subjugator of indigenous people. Perhaps as you listen to Nepo's words, you might keep that in mind. So Nepo says, let's look at two different explorers, Christopher Columbus and Carl Jung. While Columbus crossed the ocean with the interest of breaking things down and retrieving whatever treasure he could find, Jung crossed an interior ocean with the intent of putting together whatever he might find, to make treasures of what he already had. Perhaps the difference was that Columbus was searching outward with a predetermined sense of conquest when he reached the New World. And Carl Jung was searching inward with an undetermined sense of love when he reached the unconscious. Both were clearly devoted to their search, but Columbus was intent to separate and to own. Jung, his intent was to unify and belong. This quest that I'm inviting you on, this quest for peace of mind, this is an inner quest, a quest with an undetermined sense of love, without the tyranny of expectations or conquest, and with an intent to unify and belong. So, what I'd like to do for us right now is I'd like to invite you to kind of check in on your quest this morning. So I'm going to ask you into a little meditation, just a few moments. So I invite you to take a slow, deep breath. Attend to the breathing, that is the air going in and out of your body. Let your eyelids rest and close. Consider this life that you have offered to you, that you have right now, as a quest for peace of mind, a journey that's based on love, a quest based on finding satisfaction and happiness in the present moment, and also of being engaged in activism in the world. of reaching out to others and of cultivating personal and shared values. See where you are on your quest. Look closely at what efforts you're putting in internally to your quest. Are you taking things apart or putting them together? Are you working to own or to belong? How has your quest led to more inner peace? How has it fed your resilience? A quest for peace of mind which balances inner contentment and outer activism sounds like a worthy adventure. One, in fact, many of you are already on. What I ask is for you to consider, how do you continue on this quest with more intention, with more reflection, perhaps with more times of silence? How does your quest continue being intentional about setting aside times to be present in the moment and to be out in the world making a difference? It is likely that our quests will be different, but at their core, they share our Unitarian Universalist values and principles. We all need, as we continue on this quest, things that fill us so that we can continue both working for contentment and working toward activism. And so as we come to a close to this sermon, I want to offer you a quote. And my hope is that this quote may strengthen you as you continue on your quest. This was written by American writer, poet, and philosopher Susie Kassim. Open, hear the words, allow them to give you what you need on your quest. I have been finding treasures in the places I did not want to search. I've been hearing wisdom from tongues I didn't want to listen to. I've been finding beauty where I did not want to look. I have learned that miracles are only called miracles because they are often witnessed by only those who can see through all of life's illusions. I'm ready. ready to see what really exists on the other side, what exists behind the blinds, and taste the ugly fruit instead of what looks ripe and plump and right. Take what you need from this. And go forth, my friends. Go forth and find the ugly fruit. See what's on the other side, what exists behind the blinds within you. And in so doing, may you find peace. Peace of mind. Amen.
We're going to close by singing together again. I have faith you're doing this at home. You better do it. Our closing hymn is going to be number 131, Love Will Guide Us. It's in the gray hymnal, in case you happen to have one. We're going to do all three verses of this. Love will guide us. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night.
Well, now's our time for gratitudes and announcements. Thanks, Steve, for running our live stream and taking care of our lovely campus here, and Joseph for always bringing his top game to our music here, playing the hymns and prelude, offertory. Just an amazing gift to this community. Martha for leading our hymns. Sam Stocker for being our virtual worship associate this morning. And finally, to all of you, our hearts are warmed by being together even through these electrical lines. Please watch your weekly for email announcements. Share your thoughts on our UU Miami Facebook page. And don't forget, every Saturday morning I offer a simple spiritual practice. 9:30 Saturday morning. You can go on our website and you'll see the link and you can get the invitation. And I don't want you to forget this month to pick up your water for the water communion. It's here on the campus. You can come by and you can see our Black Lives Matter banner and the property and pick up your little bottle of water for our water communion. That's going to be on 8:30, August 30th. We have little bottles, if you're unable to stop by and pick it up, just let me know. Send me an email, revcapo@gmail.com, and we'll get you a little bottle because we'd love for everyone to be able to participate in our water communion this year. Well, next week, next Sunday, I'll be preaching on, as I said, peace in your heart. May you find peace in your heart and healing in your soul. I reflect on the importance of peace in your heart during times like this. It helps us to have more resources to cope with all that we have to face in this world. And there's so much right now. And I'll offer some ways to move toward experiencing more peace in your heart and healing in your souls. Let me offer some closing words. May peace stab the heart of the noise in your lives and the worries that you carry. May peace burn through the disquietude inside. May peace, like red blood, vitalize the veins of your thoughts. And may peace be the ambrosia wine of spirit that flows through the cask of silence, inviting you to drink deeply every day. So let's end with a greeting, and I've really come to find this one particularly meaningful. What I'd like you to do is to bring to mind a blessing that you'd like to offer to yourself or anyone else or to the world. And I want you to just hold that in the front of your mind. And I want you to close your hands and bring them to your heart space. And we'll send out that blessing together by saying the word blessings. So let's do that now together. Blessings.